You already know the rules. Don't trade with money you can't afford to lose. Set your stop loss before you enter. Walk away after 2 losing trades in a row. You know this. So why the moment the market moved against you? Did you move your stop loss down and hold on just a little longer? Why did you double down on that trade that was already bleeding instead of cutting it? This isn't about not knowing the rules. You broke rules you wrote yourself, and that's a completely different problem. My name is Ellis. I help everyday Americans understand money, the real way it works, not the version they sell you on social media. And today, we're going to talk about the real reason traders destroy themselves, even when they know exactly what they're doing wrong. Let me tell you about Daniel. Daniel is 31, works in logistics in Texas. Not a finance guy. Taught himself to trade on YouTube over about 8 months. He built a small rule book, 3 pages, handwritten, covering exactly when to enter, when to exit, and how much to risk per trade. One rule on page 1 said, "Never risk more than 2% of my account on any single trade." In March, he saw a tech stock moving fast. He felt it. That pull in your chest. The voice that says, "This one's different. This one's the one." He broke his own 2% rule, put in 11%. Then the stock dropped 18% in 4 hours. He lost $2,340 in a single afternoon. The worst part? He knew, while he was doing it, that he was breaking his own rule. He did it anyway. Now let me tell you what happened next, because this is the part nobody talks about. Daniel didn't exit at $141 like he told himself he would. He didn't even have a stop loss set. He just assumed in his head, "I'll get out at $141. I'll get out at $140. But deep down, he knew he wouldn't. He was already lying to himself before the trade even started. So the price hit $141. He didn't move. Hit $138. Still frozen. Hit $129. Now he's telling himself it has to bounce from here. It doesn't. Account down 60%. And here's where it gets dark, because this is the moment most traders make the worst decision of their lives. With whatever is left in the account, maybe $200, maybe $80, sometimes literally $5, they take maximum leverage. 10 times, 50 times. Some people hit 100 times, because the logic, if you can even call it logic, is that one big trade can bring it all back. And if you've ever traded, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because if you're honest, you've probably been there yourself. I have. I'm going to be real with you right now. Everything I'm telling you, I knew from day one. Every rule, every warning, every stat. I had read it, understood it, could have explained it to someone else, and I still broke every single one of them. Not because I didn't know better, because in that moment, greed felt louder than knowledge. Fear of missing out felt louder than discipline. And the pain of a loss felt so unbearable that blowing up the account felt better than sitting with an open loss and admitting I was wrong. That's not a trading problem. That's a human problem. But after a long time, after enough pain, enough blown accounts, enough mornings staring at a red screen wondering what happened, I started actually applying what I had known from the beginning. I stopped reading new strategies. I stopped looking for better indicators. I just started doing, with full commitment, what I already knew was right. And that's when things changed. So what actually happened to Daniel? He didn't read more books. He didn't buy a new indicator. He did one thing. He added a consequence to every rule he wrote. Not just never risk more than 2%, but if I risk more than 2%, I close the platform and don't trade again for 24 hours. He wrote that consequence in red, signed it like a contract, with a date, read it before every single session. And when he felt the urge to take more leverage, to go bigger than his rules allowed, he looked at that piece of paper and he asked himself one question. Is this worth being homeless over? That sounds dramatic, but that is the honest endpoint of a trader who keeps breaking their own rules and never stops. Small account, more leverage, bigger loss, more leverage again, until there is nothing left. The rules are not suggestions. The rules are the only thing standing between you and that outcome. They are non-negotiable, full stop. Here's the number I want you to remember. A study tracked retail traders over 5 years. Only 1% of them, 1%, were still consistently profitable. The other 99% didn't fail because of bad strategies. They failed because they couldn't follow the strategies they already had. Let that land. The gap between a profitable trader and a losing trader is almost never the strategy. It's the 11% trade when your rule said 2%. It's the stop loss you never set because you told yourself you'd exit at $141 and both of you knew that was a lie. It's the 100 times leverage on $5 because you needed one miracle to undo every broken rule that came before it. The market doesn't take your money. You hand it over, one broken rule at a time. So here's what I want you to do right now. Write your rules down, not in your head, on paper. And under every single rule, write this. If I break this, I will close the platform immediately and not trade for 24 hours. Then ask yourself, every single session, am I willing to be homeless to make this trade? Because that is the real stakes. Not today, not this week, but compounded over time. That is exactly where unchecked greed leads. I fought greed. I fought fear. I lost to both of them more times than I want to admit. But the day I stopped negotiating with my own rules, that was the day everything changed. You already know what to do. The only question is whether you'll finally do it. Subscribe, because next week we're going inside the 3 biggest trading mistakes beginners make in their first 90 days. Real numbers, real stories, no fluff. I'm Ellis, and I'm here to make sure you don't learn these lessons the hard way, like I did.